It's episode 155 of Seddy Bimco, Part 2, The Revenge.
So many hours of our life fettered away.
Because you picked. Do you want to say now?
Because I picked, the St. Francisville Experiment.
Yep, from the year 2000, 23 years after Star Wars changed the world.
Wait.
23.
No, it's not.
Come on, 2000?
No.
20. Don't you count the year it's in?
This year. I'm confused. Off to a bad start.
Let's confuse you more with the age-old question that we always start with.
Yep, it's going to be good. Let's hear it.
This week's going to be topical. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm not sorry, but...
I like that you start off with an apology right this. That's the way all episodes of Seddy Bimco should begin.
Did Sesame Street ever get revenge on RFK Jr. for convincing all the Muppets they didn't need to get vaccinated for Big Bird flu? Yeah?
Stupid. Although I do want to see the hypothetical scenario where they all die gruesome
Well, the
deaths.
count would live, and he'd be like, well, one dead Muppet,
Like,
two dead Muppets. It'd be a very dark episode.
It's Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. The show where we create revenge sequels that nobody wanted.
Seddy Bimco, Part 2, The Revenge. We're going to make revenge sequels, so you don't have to.
Two movies that never had them. And
I'm Tim Hamilton.
If I may, I have a little bit of something I want to say up front here.
Before anything? Okay.
It's a little bit of housekeeping.
Housekeeping, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what else you got? Let's introduce ourselves. I'm George O'Connor.
Tim Hamilton.
Yeah, we're both cartoonists. We both make a living drawing, so why not do an audio-only podcast? It plays to our strengths.
Unless you want to pay us. Then I'll make it visual.
Yeah, give us money. Yeah.
Animations.
Yeah.
So right up front, George
Right
wants to
up
say...
A lot of stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I do have a lot of stuff to say because, Tim, and if there's any listeners out there who've been on this remarkable journey with us, we are closing in on the end of an over year-long journey where we took a tour of the 50 nifty United States with a couple of small breaks away and a few like territories like Guam and Washington, D.C. and the Virgin Islands. We've been doing a regional film from each of these states. And today we have finally turned our attention to Louisiana and what I'm calling a very special episode. In fact, I'm even going to ask you, Tim, and when we list this as an episode, if we could come up with a special name for this, because Louisiana has a special place in our hearts.
It does.
This is a rare double feature for Seddy Bimco too, because if you've been listening for a long time, you knew that we, in a series of escalating dares, well over a year ago, we ended up becoming we made fun of, but then we became the world's biggest fans of the filmmaking of not Los Angeles. Louisiana auteur Jack Weiss.
Yep.
And he only created 5 films that we're aware of. 1 is lost.
Mm-hmm.
3 were covered in the show. A 4th one is hanging out on YouTube, but we are afraid to touch it because it's probably problematic racially.
Yeah.
But I was holding out hope beyond hope that I'd be able to locate that 4th lost film. I was writing to the man, Jack Weiss. I was writing to people who I thought might know Jack Weiss. I wrote to the film company that represents 3 of Jack Weiss's films and apparently owns the rights to them completely now. And unfortunately, we finally got to the point where this is our penultimate episode of the 50 Nifty. There's one more after this. I think it's Vermont. And then we're wrapping it up with a special episode in England as the dried husk that America was, exuded from. So we finally had to do Louisiana. We could not do a Jack Weiss. So, but we will be covering a remarkable Jack Weiss interview that I was able to uncover.
Yeah.
But before we begin into that, Tim saw it too. Well, yeah, I mean, come on. It'd be weird if just me talking about it. I could make up shit.
I watched all the interviews.
Before we get to that, Tim, oh, did you? I didn't watch the one about the lady.
She was a Playboy bunny. I can't believe I'd missed that for that episode.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's before your current obsession.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, though, there's an additional bit of house cleaning I want to get up front. I got a package today in the mail.
Oh.
It didn't have a return address. It didn't have even an address to me on it.
Pot.
It just said Seddy Bimco. It was misspelled. It looked like it had been written by a child, perhaps. I was like, that's weird that they got it to me because really you're Mr. Seddy Bimco.
Yep.
I'm at best a Jason Seddy Bimco. I opened up this package. It was damp. It was moist. And the only hint of where this package may have come from was a crudely drawn bat and what I think was perhaps an asterisk, but might have been a spider on the other side. I opened this package. You know what was inside it, Tim?
Wet and damp. Dale's ear?
That was actually just... No. Who's Dale? I don't know what you're even talking about.
Dale.
Tim, it was just a white flag of surrender.
Wow. Why was it wet and damp?
Yeah. I think just because the people who did it are slimy. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they sweat a lot. Maybe it was admitting defeat for them with such a soul-crushing experiment. Because if those of you who don't know, we've been having a bit of a feud with rival podcast Bat and Spider.
They watch movies.
And yep, they watch movies too. They sometimes watch the same movies of us because we have a mole in our organization looking at you, Kevin Cablasto. But they have given up, apparently. They surrendered. Okay. So this is the official way of saying we will no longer be making fun of Bat and Spider, except for when we do occasionally, because sometimes you just gotta.
That wasn't a very good surrender. Just a white flag. Did I have an apology written on it? I think it's the best. No, they're Tim. Have you heard their episodes? I don't think those guys are literate. I think this is the best we could have hoped for them, and I accept your defeat, Bat and Spider. And I will say this to anyone listening. We're looking to start a new feud, maybe with a more worthy opponent. So if you're out there, you're looking to have a good podcast feud, write to us at Seddy Bimco with an E at the end at gmail.com. Maybe we'll come after you, people in Alabama, doing the Alabama Take family of shows. Maybe we'll come after you. What's the British show that we have ads for? Retrospection. Edit that so it thinks I can do it. Should we go? What should we do? I guess we should do Louisiana facts, huh? All right, Louisiana, 18th state, entered the Union in 1812, although it was one of the ones that seceded. Normally, I kind of pick on those states a lot, but I kind of like Louisiana, so I'm not going to as much. Okay. Its capital is Baton Rouge, but its biggest city is New Orleans. The entire state has a population of about 4.5 million people, more than Brooklyn, less than New York. Yep. A person from Louisiana is known as either a Louisiananan, a loosey-goosey, or perhaps a lunatic. The official fish of Louisiana is the crappie, which I just wrote that down because it's funny. You mean you made it up?
The crappie. Okay. No, it's real. It's crappie. Louisiana became part of the United States as part of the Louisiana Purchase, and it was named after musician Lou Reed.
I knew that too.
Yep. Yeah. The longest, well, this is controversial, actually. I'm going to say it the way the Louisianans want you to say it. The Lake Pontchartrain Causeway is the longest bridge over water in the world, which is 24 miles long.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
I don't know if you've ever driven that. It's pretty cool. It's like you're at street level. Like it's not high, but you're like going to a swamp for like ever. But I'll tell you what, there's this bridge in China that the Chinese people say is longer, and they're having beef with New Orleans. But neither one. You go to like the website for New Orleans, they'll be like, oh yeah, we got the longest one, gumbo. And you go to China, I'm not going to do it because it's racist to make fun of the Chinese accent. But they say
there's not a Pontchartrain monster. That I thought you were coming at me with a cryptid.
No, it'd been cool. That's a little bit later. I always do the cryptids last. What if there was a Lake Pontchartrain train?
That would be nice.
That'd be cool, huh? What if it's so? Well, it's the reason I like Louisiana, Tim. It's the home of New Orleans, which is a great place. Like, you've ever been?
No, I have not.
He's thinking hard. Oh, okay. Well, in New Orleans, is a place called Bourbon Street. If you go there, there's always ladies showing their boobies, and people throw beads to them. And if you throw beads, they'll show you your boobies.
I've heard of this. I have heard of this.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Yeah, it's also known for its drive-through daiquiri shops, which seems like it's trouble waiting to happen. But
drive-through what shops?
Daiquiri shops.
All right, yeah. Drive-through daiquiri.
I mentioned this before in the show. Like it's.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. That's not just a New Orleans thing. That's a Louisiana thing. Like it's on the outskirts more because we're in like Louisiana proper. Like if you're in a Jack Weiss film, you're not gonna drive. That's crazy. That streets aren't. But like you go to the outskirts and all those weird above ground cemeteries and whatnot. You better believe there's just people pulling up and just in the drive through and getting daiquiris and just driving off.
Okay.
Which I should mention this. I did paint a picture. And I should mention that Louisiana is probably best known for Cajun food and the Cajuns who live there. And I felt like I need to give a definition of Cajuns. They are a fictional member of any of the largely self-contained communities in the bayou areas of southern Louisiana, allegedly formed by descendants of French Canadians speaking an archaic form of French, but they are not real. There's no such thing as Cajuns.
Okay.
I've met Cajuns. I've heard people speak with Cajun accents. But I think it's all an elaborate ruse put on to fool Northerners coming down there. The same way, like if you go to Australia, they tell you about drop bears. Mm-hmm. And here's my evidence for it. This is a list of famous Cajuns.
Okay.
Jared Leto, Shia LaBeouf, and Gambit from the X-Men. That's it. Does that sound like real people? No.
It's two famous people.
It's two famous
people. I don't know who Gambit is.
All right. Tim, you want to talk about flags and stuff?
No,
strange laws.
We look up odd laws in these states.
Odd laws. Oh man, I bet you some fucking weird ones in this state.
We thought of it too late, but okay. You're talking about
so
Mardi
Gras. Do it over again. Yeah, Mardi. What does that mean, Tim?
Mardi Gras.
Yeah. Do you know what it means in French?
Party down.
No, man, it's Fat Tuesday.
Oh, that's right. I knew that.
yeah, you did. All right. First law, and Mardi Gras. If you're not morbidly obese, they will beat you with sticks.
You correct me, but I edit this show, and I even put it in a promo 2 weeks ago. George tried to gaslight me with his Spanish, and one of the Spanish words had biblio, and I'm like, reading books? And you're like, no, library.
Yeah, I said biblioteca, you fool. That's a library.
I know, but I was saying biblio, books, reading, and you're like, no, so you got has nothing to do with that. Libraries.
No, you got part of the root correct. Yes, you congratulations. But biblioteca.
I know biblio.
Donde está la biblioteca? No, you're taking part. That's like saying I knew new when you're talking about New Orleans.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear some weird laws. Come on.
Well, it's illegal to throw those beads from a third-story window at a parade. So I guess on third floor, you're not supposed to throw beads at people. I guess it could hurt. Man. Right?
I'm trying to picture. I've definitely seen people throw them. Like most of the stories that buildings are only 2 stories, but like they must. That's the
loophole. Also, throwing condoms from parade floats is prohibited. Just as condoms.
How about hand grenades?
Don't know if they're used or in the package. Hand grenades.
Also, you know what, Tim? I'm not even kidding. I was definitely there for a Halloween parade one year, and they were definitely throwing condoms from the floats. So.
Well, they got those sharp edges if they're in the package, right?
And if they're big enough and they open, they might actually go over your entire body and you can suffocate inside it.
That's happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Probably has.
There's just a few here. There are a lot of weird ones. In the small town of Sulphur, it's illegal to use obscene language on the phone. In Jefferson.
I don't know how do they enforce that?
I was wondering.
Yeah, there's just a person whose full-time job is listening to all the conversations.
Nosy neighbors.
Yeah, seriously.
In Jefferson Parish, minors are not allowed in businesses with coin-operated foosball machines unless accompanied by an adult.
That's because they're always trying to dig ores out, right?
Ores?
And because miners get it.
Oh, wow. Wow. I had no joke. I was going to say, that's me. I tried to hit the ball out of the... something happened with that ball when it flew out of the foosball table, I guess. That's what happens.
You're trying to hit a ball?
No, but when you play it and you get crazy, you just knock the balls out of the table. That's the only thing I could think they did wrong.
I like how it's just they're fucking kids. Nobody wants kids in a foosball. They're kids.
Okay, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
My other favorite one. In Jefferson Parish, you can't feed hogs garbage unless you cook it first. And also at a funeral or a wake, the number of sandwiches you can take is limited to 3.
Oh, wow.
And we just saw that movie 2 weeks ago with the river creature, and people at a wedding got in a fight because one guy was eating too many servings of potato salad. Right. I wonder if that's related.
Yeah. Beware the river beast.
Anyway, second to last, the hilarious segment called Odd Laws. Be here next week.
We could do another one for England, maybe. So maybe the third to last.
Okay.
All right. So here, now I'm going to, for reasons that have become obscure in passing, because Tim used to be obsessed with streetcars and elevators.
Yeah.
I always mention the first streetcar and elevator. He's kind of gotten over this. So now it's like the joke's long in the tooth. Thank God it's almost over. Get this, Tim. The oldest continuously operated streetcar line in the entire world is in New Orleans.
Still?
Still, it's opened in 1835. It's the 12th Street St. Charles, the 12th Street Charles streetcar line.
That's where you see the streetcar going on the grass between the roads.
Well, it's got a cane because it's so old.
Yes, cane.
Gotta walk. Yeah.
It can't run over legs anymore.
It runs from Canal Street. Yeah, when it runs over your leg, it breaks. It runs from Canal Street all the way to the end of St. Charles Avenue at South Carrollton Avenue, then out South Carrollton Avenue to its terminal at Carrollton and Claiborne and leg cut off. Yep. The first grain elevator was built in some place called West Wago. It was built in 1892. That's boring. Who cares?
Yeah.
And then cryptids. I have 2.
Only 2.
Wow. Well, I only normally do 1 normally.
No,
my favorite one is the Rougarou, which is a corruption of the French loup-garou, because you remember the largely fictional people Cajuns I mentioned? Yes. They got these outrageous accents. Even when they say loup-garou, it sounds like Rougarou. It's a werewolf. It's a werewolf.
Oh, okay.
And the other one is the Honey Island swamp monster. The creature is commonly described by alleged witnesses as a large bipedal humanoid about 7 foot tall, covered with gray hair and having glowing red or yellow eyes. Other local names for the creature include the Louisiana Wookiee and the Cajun Sasquatch. This is the part that made me want to read it, though.
Okay.
Because the alleged plaster casts of its footprints, they show a creature with 4 toes.
Huh.
Not 5 like all primates have. So I think there's been a boating accident.
Yeah.
Somebody shot it off in a boating accident. Go back and listen to our old Seddy Bimco. That's
long ago.
Beast Boggy Creek number 1, right?
One of those.
Yeah, where a guy, there's a farmer who's clearly putting fake footprints all over his property, and a primatologist comes in and just keeps calling bullshit on him because they only got 3 toes, and the farmer's just like,
I've forgotten all this.
Yep. Oh man, it's one of my favorite bits ever.
Is that it?
That's it. I wanted to keep it short because we have so much to talk about with Jack Weiss. So I'm going to set the scene. As I mentioned up front, Jack Weiss was we started, I think the first movie, it was something Tim chose. I think it was Cryptic Dark Secrets, right?
I believe that was the first one.
And we watched this movie. It was just kind of shocking to our sensibilities at that point. And we were like, if you listen to the episode, we're kind of riding it pretty hard, especially the character played by Ronald Tannett, like the sleepy guy. Yes. Just picking on this guy. But like, there was something very enjoyable about it. It wasn't just the copious amounts of full frontal nudity. And as a bit of just like a mutually assured destruction, when it was my turn to choose a movie at the end of that episode, I chose another film by Jack Weiss called Mardi Gras Massacre. Yes. If you listen to these in order, you can kind of see me and Tim through Stockholm Syndrome kind of coming around. We're starting to really enjoy this. And at the end of it, Tim literally throws a hand grenade in the room. He's like, we're doing a 3rd fucking film. We did 3 Jack Weisses in a row. He does Death Brings Roses.
Jack.
And I will say unequivocally, by the end of this, we became huge fans. We became obsessed. Like I was trying to hunt them down. I bought Blu-rays of all 3 of these films, which are from Severin Film Company. Hi, Severin Films.
Severin Films.
Please release. Yeah, please release his movie Storyville so we can get it. But what is super exciting, in lieu of any other new Jack Weiss stuff, because we're not touching that movie Quadroon, which is up on YouTube. On, I think it was the Mardi Gras Massacre DVD or Blu-ray, there was an interview with the man himself.
And George bought it.
And so I bought it. I watched it on like actual physical media.
I watched it too.
Tim and I arranged a surreptitious handoff earlier this week. Tim watched it too. So my first question, Tim, before we go any further, what were your thoughts upon finally seeing Jack Weiss, what he looks like?
I could tell he dyed his hair. That's my first thought.
Oh, I wrote down suspicious hairline. My thought was it was a toupee.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Yeah. There's he's a very old man. We did the math. He's got to be in his 80s, but he seems very young and lively, actually. Like he was in much better shape. I would thought this would be a kind of sad video of like a man drooling on himself. Like, no, he looked good. He sounded good. He did have a suspicious hairline, and he was wearing mirrored shades the entire time.
Oh yes. Couldn't see his eyes. But that's me.
He looked like Stan Lee, actually. He was like a mustacheless Stan Lee. And he sounded like Stan Lee. A little bit.
Did you just say this and I didn't hear it? But what year was this interview filmed? That's why I couldn't find it on the label.
Because it didn't say, but because the interview was conducted by an employee of Severin Films, I think it was actually close to when these DVDs were released, which is in the last couple of years.
Interesting. I thought outside the window I saw people going to see Empire Strikes Back. So I thought maybe it was 1980. They're all excited.
Is this what's going to happen for the next bit? Are you gonna move your one reference you make from Star Wars onto Empire Strikes? All right, this is good. I can't wait for Seddy Bimco Part 4, the Empire Striking. So the name of this intro is called "I'm Not Into Hollywood." Mm-hmm. We learned some stuff about him. I wrote a lot of notes. I imagine Tim's going to get nervous if I say them all, so I'm going to run through them really quickly.
Nervous? Why?
He starts off saying the first line is he goes, "I was in the entertainment business," and it turns out he represented dancers. If you've listened to our episode, Death Brings Flowers, like he's just that guy. That was his job. Yeah, he worked, in his words, "I worked for a very wealthy Jewish man in the Catskills, and they represented dancers. And his job was he went around and collected money from them." Mm-hmm. So hopefully he's not like the character in that movie, because that guy was sucked and he was.
I didn't quite make that connection.
Guy punched women.
Yeah.
And he was originally and that was also funny. Like I thought this guy was going to be like a super duper Cajun, even though Cajuns don't exist. But he's from fucking New York. Mm-hmm. From the Catskills originally, like Tex McGillicuddy, the person who writes your worst jokes, Tim. But what I learned from watching this interview is how much parts of his life intersected with various films we've done in Seddy Bimco.
Right.
So like he was very much like the character Death Becomes Roses, right? And he said he became enamored and started flying around directors of photography for different films.
Because they were God.
Because they were like God. He did say that, yes. He did make a statement, which I hoped he would kind of elucidate on, never did. He says, "I became a DP in Chicago on 666.
I didn't quite hear that.
I rewound it twice. I'm like, is he saying like what does that mean? Does he work for the devil?
I don't know. I didn't quite hear that. I thought he just said a show. I didn't know.
Oh, maybe it was. Was that a show, Route 666? Was that? No, it's Car 54. That's
there
what
is
he mentioned
Route
once.
Something 64.
Get my kicks. I don't know. He made a comment. We didn't catch it. And then this New Yorker who went to Chicago moved to New Orleans because, as he said, New Orleans was nothing. Mm-hmm. There was no film industry there, and he became involved in writing and directing down there. He had 2 units that did nothing but stunts, and I'm like Evil Knievel, previous Seddy Bimco film. And that also explains why his movies, despite being filmed very cheaply for the most part, have a lot of car crashes.
Yes. He said he put together the Chevys, 3 things
which is fucking hilarious.
That were popular. Car chases.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember what they were?
Naked ladies, car chases, and blood.
And blood, yeah.
Oh,
and that really,
in this interview, we hear the word hookah and all the time.
Yeah, Tim gets really excited at that
I'm just saying, this guy said hookah and prostitute.
Yeah. So, Tim, I want to point out this old man, this Stanley without a mustache looking motherfucker. This is the sort of guy who uses that word.
Yeah, I know.
Yep. So apparently at his height, he said he had 82 employees, 15 trucks, his own cameras and lights.
Yeah.
He filmed the opening to a Roger Moore James Bond film that was filming in Florida.
Yes. And
according to him, he rewrote it so it'd be New Orleans. So apparently, because they were having trouble in Florida and they run up there and they did New Orleans thing. And they gave me a credit as some damn thing. And if you look on the credits, he is a location coordinator. Jack Weiss.
Probably had to write that so they didn't have to pay him for any kind of... Did he say he helped direct it?
Well, no, he said he just directed that one sequence.
Okay.
They opened, James Bond's opened up with the unconnected action sequence at the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
He did that part. But that was interesting because then he fell in with Harry Salzman and, what's his name, Joe Broccoli, the people who do all the Bond films. And they used him on a whole bunch of films. And he shot at Pinewood Studios in England, and he went to France and Germany. And he said, "I never got a screen credit, but I got a lot of money." And he did the finger sign with the money thing.
You know, it was filmed at in England.
Star Wars. Yes, Star Wars, Tim. Yes. God. Folks, he has one reference.
It just keeps coming up.
Let's see.
All this stuff.
Yeah, it's because you keep bringing it up,
Tim. This stuff keeps coming together.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about because then he talks about his movies. So the one that exists on YouTube and we have not yet had the courage to tackle yet is Quadroon, and this is the tagline for the movie, and you'll understand why we have not done this film. 1/4 black, 3/4 white, all woman.
Yeah,
it's probably not going to be handled sensitively, but it's about, as he was saying, because there's a certain theme that runs through all Jack Weiss's work. He's like, back in New Orleans, it was illegal to marry a quadroon. A quadroon is an antiquated term describing a woman like above. And Jack, like, to the point where even in the 60s when Jack was living there, he was unable to marry his wife in New Orleans because she could not prove that she was not a quarter black.
Wow.
The movie was apparently initially shot with no dialogue, which is like, that also sounds like it's gonna be a rough film to watch if we ever do. When he showed it to distributors, they said, "We need more violence." And he says, this is a direct quote from Jack: "We took a beautiful black man, muscular, and tied him up, and we beat him with cotton soaked in black ink for 2 minutes." And that made it a hit. Apparently made a lot of money.
Oh, what he said was, when they showed that in New Orleans and Mississippi, people got up and cheered when they beat the black man. And he was like, you never know what you're making or who's going to get turned down by it.
Did you take that as, I took it as it was black people who were excited that they were being represented in a way that showed unflinching.
No, I thought he meant white people.
But the way you said it made me think.
That's why he was like, whoa, you never know what you're making or what people are going to think about it.
Interesting.
I thought that's what he meant.
I will also, you could be right. I will also add that the copy that exists of this on YouTube was put up by the daughter of one of the leads in the film, perhaps actually the beautiful black man that I described. And she put up as a tribute to her dad. So she at least likes it, but I still haven't watched it. Then he talks about the film Storyville, came out in 1974, starring Mickey Rooney's son, Tim Rooney. And this is the one I have written. I have had a letter writing campaign to Severin Films, like, please release this film. Tim, after watching the clip, because they showed a brief, tantalizing clip of just a second of that movie, did you notice how shitty it looked?
I guess I didn't.
It was so degraded. I'm like, that film is lost. There must be like a VHS copy somewhere, but the prints are gone. So I don't think Severin's ever released it. So Tim, we need to invent a time machine and go back and steal a print of Storyville.
Or just read the plot in Wikipedia.
Well, the plot is it's about the legalization of prostitution in New Orleans.
That's
Again, right. A certain theme comes up in Jack Weiss's stuff. And apparently for most of the film, Tim Rooney decided to Donald Duck it.
Okay.
Which is a term where he wore full clothes on his top, a jaunty sailor's cap, but nothing on the bottom.
Wow.
It was considered a bold move.
And what was it called?
I mean, Storyville. Okay. Oh, the move is called Donald Duck in it. If you only wear a T-shirt, but you pull it up over your fat belly too, that's called Winnie the Pooh in it. Then he talks about Death Brings Roses, his third film, which we did in Seddy Bimco, with the hero who's smacking women. They show that clip for some reason. This is also
because he said that actor. He said that actor was really going for it. He was good, but nothing ever happened with him. That's what he said.
You're right. You're right. Actually, he talks extensively about his friendship with Henny Youngman.
That's right.
Tim, that's your idol, right?
That's my idol. Yeah.
Like you basically patterned your life and career on him. Like you started playing the guitars, so because you're like, eventually I'll just switch to violin. You tell terrible old jokes. Yes. Yep.
So he was in that. He just tells a story that he wanted to be in his movie for some reason. He didn't have to pay him.
Yep.
I don't know why that movie, but
yeah, I don't know either. But he knew Henny Youngman for when he worked up in the Catskills
right.
in the Catskill circuit. He talks about some other old actors I didn't know, but I said Tim probably did. Broderick Crawford, who's a bartender in there from a show called 10-4.
I saw
He
that.
was a Hollywood guy at the drinking problem. Yeah. There was some lady called Hermione Gingold.
She wouldn't
fly.
Or take a car.
So they had to put her on a train
like
and she had to take a man with her.
You got to put me.
Wait, you won't fly?
You got to put me on a train and give me a man to bring with me.
How did you get to Italy from my marriage? Did you swim?
Yes. Took a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked her story.
He told a lot of weird little stories about this.
Oh, the first movie, Crypt of Dark Secrets, he made that.
That was the first movie we did, but it was his fourth movie.
But that's when he explains he did it, and the distributor said, needs more tits. And that's the only reason that naked lady is in there dancing. He refilmed it.
Well, there's Crypt of Dark Secrets. Go back and listen to that one. That's the first one we did. It's amazing. He writes, I got this idiot, this friend of mine, and we wrote the story. And he was talking about Sleepy Ron Tannen, the actor. He called him an idiot. I was so delighted. And
I wanted to know more about their relationship.
Tits and ass. So there's, well, he was in 3 of his films. I think I took it that idiot was a very fond thing. Like because we very much rode Mr. Tannen very hard, calling him the most least talented and least charismatic actor we've ever seen, and that's saying something for Seddy Bimco.
Yeah.
But
stoic.
Again, by the third movie, I love this guy. I want to see more of him.
He said he was a
if
former
you're listening,
police
Mr.
officer,
Janet,
I think, in this.
Yeah, and also that he ran movies. The guy had a lot of jobs.
I watched the interview
we probably should
with the man who played the villain in Mardi Gras Massacre. You didn't watch that?
Oh, I did. Yes, his name was what was his name?
I'm forgetting. But I understand. What's his name?
I didn't.
Well, I understand.
I did, but
I understand those strange cuts in the movie now because he said in his interview, they told me to pause here because they're going to do a close up in it. And remember in the movie, he would do things like, Chinese food and a fortune cookie. Like he would wait to say things.
This is nothing to listen to in the Mardi Gras Madness episode because I do it several times, and there's nothing Tim hates more than dead air. And like the movie is notable for like when Tim says the heavy, he is a serial killer trying to appease a Aztec god. Yeah, with by cutting hearts out of people's fake torsos and such. And there's a remarkable long interview of this guy in here too, where you get to see some of Jack Weiss's filming, and Jack Weiss told him to leave these huge long pauses in there because he would cut in with close-ups that they never bothered filming. Because as he talked, Jack Weiss would be they'd film and he'd be like, that's good enough, let's go, we gotta move. So
he had a lot of lines like, which woman in here is the most evil? That was my favorite line.
Yeah. And he added the fortune cookie scene too, which you mentioned. Yeah. He improv that line. He says, give me some crab ragout and a fortune cookie.
So
he talks about one of the women he killed in the movie because we had hypothesized at the time of the episode that the whole reason he took this job was for the chance to feel up lots of nude women because the killer straps naked women to a table. Yeah. He did seem like a really nice guy, but he does talk about how one of the women he killed in that movie had the first ever breast implants, so they'd become rock hard. And he says, you watch the scene, you can see I recoil because I'm shocked at how hard he is. I'm like, this is probably not a very nice thing to commit to film.
That's not appropriate.
But then we also learned that most of the cutting scenes were not even him. It was a prop man doing it.
That's right.
And also, if you were listening to that episode, it's notable for I deliver my entire revenge story in rhyming scat because one of the characters is that, and that character, it turns out he was the boyfriend of the aptly named dancer named Nancy Dancer.
Nancy Dancer, real name.
Yeah. Anyway, and Tim, you said you watched the one with the Playboy bunny. You got any factoids from that? She was the first victim of the Mardi Gras Massacre killer.
She just talks about she was super young, and she sent letters to Playboy to see if they would hire her with her picture, and she got a job. And there was a Playboy office Playboy Club in New Orleans. So
I did watch that much. She got a job.
And
that's it.
And she did a lot of work in films and worked at the Playboy Club until she was 26, where she's like, I gotta go do something, and she became she went to New York and became a
wrestler.
Can't remember because she wrote a novel.
Costume vigilante. Oh.
Later in life, she wrote a novel about the Queen writing letters with John Lennon before he died.
Wait, really?
Yes, and
I would read that.
And then the Queen has the letters, and somebody steals them, so the Queen has to sneak out and get the letters back. I forget what this is called, but she just became. What did she become? It was just like a job. It was just like, I became this. I'm blanking on it. But she wrote a novel and 2 novels. And
this is a good story.
Plays the banjo.
And she was the first victim. And she also does call Mardi Gras Massacre the worst movie we've ever made.
Oh, did you get to the end of her interview?
No, I only watched a few minutes of it. Basically, it's very hard for me to get any amount of TV time away from my wife.
Well,
I had to wake up early to watch it so I could give it to you.
Because she said, I get letters still. People want me to sign this picture of me naked when I was 25. And I'm thinking, do you know how old I am? But then she says, but who knew this? Who knew that this stuff stays around for people to keep loving? Because I like to listen to old time radio from the 30s. And she's like, who would have thought that somebody would still be listening to that today?
And Tim was like, I do. And Tim looks to the wall where he has a nude photo of her signed that he sent the year before.
That's what she said, though. So.
That's something that also the guy who plays the Mardi Gras Massacre guy also says.
Oh, yeah. He never thought.
He also talks about this.
It'd be seen.
And then I think it all comes together here. Here we are, Tim, talking about Jack Weiss and his movies all these years later. And that's why, Tim, when we put this episode up, I want us to put Jack Weiss's name in the title somewhere.
Okay.
So Jack, in case he has a Google thing, Jack Weiss, we love you. We want to talk to you. We want to, God, please, we'll even watch a shitty VHS copy of Storyville if you got it. We want to do Storyville. If we get you on, we'll do Quadroon. We just want to hear from you. I'm glad to see how fit you looked and how sharp you were. And I know you're Tim's idol. I could say that. I feel comfortable speaking for Tim. And should we talk about St. Francisville Experiment?
Should we talk about the movie? Yeah.
As far as I'm sure, yeah.
It's a Louisiana movie.
It sure is. Filmed in St. Francisville, Louisiana.
It's got, well, you picked it. You want to do a synopsis? You want me to?
On October 7th, this is actually the first line of the movie. It serves perfectly well as a synopsis. Okay. St. Francisville, Louisiana, on October 17th, 1999, 4 people were sent into a haunted house to investigate the presence of ghosts and record their findings on video.
That is pretty much all that happens.
And then it says the events that follow are real. Now, before we get into this is really, so I will just say spoilers up front. Like, I chose this movie because it was short, because I knew we were doing the Jack Weiss retrospective. And I know Tim would get really nervous if it was anything over like anything long, like approaching feature length. This movie, like, I have rarely seen a film where so little happens.
Yeah, I will say.
It's very much a Blair Witch found footage type film. And I think if Tim and I and 2 of our friends, let's just choose 2 names at random. How about Chris, who doesn't listen, and Foofy?
Okay.
If the 4 of us were to take a camera and some ghost stumps or go into an alleged real haunted house and film it, I think just about as much stuff would happen to us as happens in this film. It almost until the very end, like, nothing really happens. It isn't like nothing.
Well,
but apparently, I was reading on various message boards and IMDb, there was a completely different version of this movie that was released on VHS back in the day. With lots of stuff that
nudity.
happened.
That's what I
don't think nudity, but like
cuts are.
Yeah, no, like just stuff happening. Like there's even stuff. There's elements that, like, there's definitely a scene which I didn't record in my notes exactly where it happened, where you could kind of hear a cat.
I remember that.
I'm like, what's going on with this cat? And they never address it, and like it's because there was a scene where like a cat jumps out at them. And there's a scene where, like, remember something falls out of the fireplace? There's a scene where somebody goes up there's a scene where they discover a trapdoor. Somebody falls through the trapdoor. One of the characters completely disappears for the second part of the movie. That's because she falls through a floor into the basement in this movie. For some reason, they took every single moment of anything that happened in this film and just left it out. So all that's left is just actors improvising in a haunted house.
That explains the kitty litter box, then. There was a cat there. They stepped in the kitty litter box. But yeah, that's I don't know if you're making that up, because that seems bizarre.
No, I actually meant to have it open. I could look it up and read you a description of the things in this. Maybe I will.
You just did it, George. Our main characters are Madison, Ryan, Paul, and Tim. I'm just getting the names into people's heads so they could follow this story.
Yeah, but say what they are, because it says...
Madison's this goth girl who believes in that, stuff like that. Tim is the video guy, Madison.
It's Tim Baldini. He's a film student. He does the camera work mostly. Madison Chirap is a psychic. Ryan Larson, who's actually a girl, is a history student. She's blonde. She disappears. Just gone from the movie for most of it. And Paul James is listed as an amateur ghost authority. And he's, I guess, the leader, but he's a dick.
It was never a Charlie, right? So at one point I thought there was somebody named Charlie, but... No, I don't think so.
Chirap. That was the psychic's last name.
Oh, okay. Maybe I heard that.
Okay, can I read you really quickly if we want to edit the 2 versions?
Okay.
Nah, who cares?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, okay. The room goes all poltergeisty when they do the cleansing experience. When they're eating the food that was left out for them, Ryan takes a bite of her sandwich. There's a huge cockroach in it. The hidden hallway bit, is like new in this version. Instead, they find a room where all the people are like strapped into torture chambers, which would actually fit thematically with the movie. Yeah, it sounds like there's a completely different version of this film out there, but is kind of lost. And all that's out there is the version we saw. Where did you watch it?
I guess that was YouTube, right? Yeah,
because it was on YouTube, it was on Plex, it was on, I think it's on Tubi, it's everywhere. So we were introduced to these 4 people who they stress are not actors, and that's actually, I should also mention, is the real actors' names, because this is just Blair Witch. Mm-hmm. And then they're talking to some guy named Troy Taylor, who's apparently a real famous ghost hunter, and he's training them on how to find ghosts, because as we know, they're going to go into a haunted house for, as they say, 24 hours. It's 12
Which
hours.
Never paid off, because he's talking about putting flour on the floor to see ghost footprints.
Yep.
I was like, oh, this is going to happen. Nope.
Yeah, in fact, it pays off so poorly. He does give them stuff. He gives them the powder. That doesn't happen. He gives them a meter that, like, it's like a thermal scanner motion that gets energy
cold.
and stuff. That
tells
they
you
use
if
a
the room
lot.
is cold
Yeah.
or hot.
Yeah. I actually made a list of how to find ghosts, Tim.
Already? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Get ready. There's a lot
They're
of
not in the house
episode.
yet.
Well, but they're being taught how to find ghosts. This is what Troy Taylor sold. Maybe this is the other version of the movie we didn't see. Number 1, ask a ghost rider.
Mm-hmm. Go. Rider?
Mm-hmm. All right. Number 2, go to a bodega.
Okay.
Number 3, yell, here, ghosty, ghosty, here, ghosty, ghosty. Number 4.
That's better than that last one.
Sucks. Yeah. Number 4, kill any living people you meet to make new ghosts. Increase your odds. Yep.
Like that one.
Number 5, leave out ghost food.
Okay. Is it,
And
what
the
is
number
it, George?
6 way to
Blueberries?
Oh, blueberries. Oh, what else could it be? That's all we got.
No, you didn't do the last one.
And
I
Tim,
interrupted you. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I know. The number 6 way on how to find ghosts. Tim, quick, look behind you. Guys, he didn't look. It was totally a ghost.
I can see back there. How do you tell? Do you tell if a ghost is a boy or a girl?
You lift up a sheet.
Yeah,
you look for it.
Got it.
You look for his dick.
You
look for his dick.
So
wait, is that really? Wait, Tim, is that really
that's
the answer?
the answer? You knew it.
Oh,
look under the sheets.
That's one of the, that falls into the weird sort of common sense sort of jokes. Like, why'd the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? Yeah. All right.
So they have dinner with this ghost guy, right?
Oh, breakfast I interpret as, but it could be dinner. They have a meal. They break bread, and he's telling all the reasons why this house they're going to is haunted.
Could you hear it?
And weird.
Did you hear how loud the chewing and the food sound was? I don't know if you noticed that. You could barely hear them talk.
Yeah. Sound quality was pretty bad in parts of this. And what's funny, if you are a fan of New Orleans, if you know the history, like they just tell the story of Madame Lallorie.
Yes, I know it's a real.
Who was a real historical figure who really tortured. Basically, she was a horrible person she had enslaved people, and she would do horrible tortures to them. So horrible that the authorities, who were okay with people owning other people and working them in, know, and that they were like, we have to kill this lady. When they discovered when the enslaved people like set fire to the kitchen.
Yes.
So when the firemen came in, they're like, why is this lady chained to the wall?
Right.
And what's going on in this attic? And why does this 12-year-old boy have half a face?
She fled town.
She fled town, which I know from when I've been in New Orleans. Like I've seen the house. They actually had a picture of the Lallorie house. You know who owns that house now? Or at least did when I was down there last?
I thought it burned down, but yeah.
No.
Okay.
It's still there.
Who?
Nicolas Cage.
Of course. I think I knew that.
Yeah, of course he does. He probably had to sell it along with his copy of Action Comics #1.
Does he have one?
He did.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, one of like the best ones too, because that guy had a lot of money, and that guy spent it all poorly.
You sure? Yeah. He's okay. He's doing okay, right?
That's why he did all those bad movies. That's why he's done those Christian movies. He had some trouble that he had to get out of. He's doing better now. He's a national treasure. You know his real name? Yes. He named himself after Luke Cage.
Wasn't he in a movie called National Treasure?
Yes, he was. 2. There's 2 of them. Maybe 3?
Don't know.
Yeah. They're not great. They're okay. All right. So they tell the whole thing, and that the whole thing is Madame Lallorie famously fled New Orleans, never to be seen again. I think they killed her. But in the fiction of this movie, she went to St. Francisville and maybe lived in another house, and this is the house it is.
Yep. This is told by the fireplace by an old man.
Oh, that's a separate scene. Yeah.
And then,
Yeah. Yeah. Because the movie starts off very interestingly and seems like it's going to be creepy, where with this guy, Troy Taylor, saying why it could be haunted. There's an old guy who is, I actually really couldn't understand his voice because, again, the sound quality, but he's the great-grandson of someone who was a slave on this plantation, and he confirms, it's like, yeah, Madame Lallorie came here. He goes, Madame liked to cut people with a knife, and the doctor liked to sew them together in ways nature never intended. And then to set the story more, like she captured there was this one enslaved man who she was obsessed with. She captured his family. She horribly mutilated them. And then something came back. It was him.
Yeah, something came
killed
back.
Madame Lallorie. Because
that one kid says, well, they're like adult kids. He's like, ghosts can't hurt you though, right?
And he goes, I reckon you're fixing to find out. And then he throws a charged playing card at him and he blows up.
No one gets that.
Everybody.
No one saw that Wolverine movie.
Everybody saw X-Men 97 though. And everybody saw the movie made like $1 billion.
I thought he said, but they don't they can't hurt you though, right? They sometimes unbuckle your pants and do things to you down there like Dan Aykroyd. They did to Dan Aykroyd. Anyway,
I posit
totally
Tim,
inappropriate.
You got to stick the landing. I posit more people can get my Gambit reference than are going to get your Dan Aykroyd getting a blowjob in a montage sequence in Ghostbusters reference.
That scene is bad idea. I mean, I'm not.
Which one?
Dan Aykroyd get his pants unbuckled by a ghost. Not that I care. There's sex in it, but I'm like, it's just doesn't fit with the movie. I'm like, what's going on? I remember seeing it.
If you ever read the actual screenplay of Ghostbusters, it was a whole other sequence where he's in a sea captain's house. They filmed it, and like there was this whole sequence where, and that's the only part that survives. And that's why it's a weird dream sequence where it kind of like blurs with like smoky stuff.
A sea captain unbuckled his pants?
The sea captain's wife unbuckles his pants. But then I think if I recall the scene correctly, the sea captain gets mad and comes after him, and there's a whole thing.
Wow.
But the movie, like Ghostbusters, was a famously very long script that they overshot stuff for it, and it got cut to shit. But I think what happened, they filmed that whole sequence, and Dan Aykroyd's like, but I want the ghost blowjob still. And then people are like, why? He's like, because it feels funny on my tongue. After talking to these people, there's also a lady. We just skipped over entirely.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But the filmmaker drives the 4 people up after hearing all the stuff about ghosts can hurt you, and there's people with their faces cut off and stuff. And they drive up to the house at night, which seems a bad idea.
I know. I was thinking that too.
And he tells them how long they're going to be there and stuff and things. They go into the house.
He gives them envelopes right? Because they're going to act out something.
Yeah, they're missions.
Oh, they're missions.
They're missions.
Okay.
It's their missions, what they have to do. But I think, honestly, behind the scenes, watching this movie, the envelopes are almost certainly character beats for the characters to be playing that they would have to act out in the room, and then they would do spooky stuff and nothing happens. As they get up to the house, as they're about to enter, the psychic's like, guys, we really need to talk to the house. Mm-hmm. We need to talk to the house. So Tim,
the kids want to bring the food in.
Yeah, the kids want to bring the food and they ignore her, totally. But I did make a list of things to converse with the house.
Oh,
you ready for this? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Here's things to say to a house if you ever have talked to a house. Number 1, who does your siding? Number 2, so you come here often?
Wow, dirty.
That's ironic because it's a house. Yeah. Oh, I see. Oh, I didn't think of that. But here's dirty for you, Tim. 3, what's it like having people poop in you all the time?
This is dirty.
Imagine.
That is dirty.
It is dirty. Yeah. And this one, this is one you can only ask ranch houses. Mm-hmm. What's your story? Because they're only 1 story tall.
Got it. Yep. I got that.
This is one that you could probably relate to, Tim. You get the houses super high, and then you keep talking about termites. Freak them out. They're like, this bugs inside me. Yeah. And the number 6 things to converse with the house, dinosaurs, just because they're cool. Yeah.
So do you ever ask them if they have soggy bottoms? I guess a house could have a soggy bottom if it had water trouble.
It could.
Trouble.
I mean, it could, yeah.
Anyway.
Or if it's made of Jell-O or cake.
I just got to be part of it. Make it about me.
I just have to throw out a reference. Sure, it's an old reference to Great British Bake Off. It doesn't apply to anything we're talking about, but I'm going to say it. They are told, even though we were repeatedly told before this, they're going to spend 24 hours in there, they leave. They get in the house at night, and they're like, "Well, we could leave in the morning." So it's like I'm like, it's definitely not 24 hours. They're spending maybe 12 hours in there. They get their directions. The psychic especially keeps talking about how stuffy it is and how windows can't open because clearly her directions said you're claustrophobe or something.
Yes, doesn't like being closed in.
Yeah. And she keeps saying, I would like to surround this house with white light, protection of the universe and God and stuff. And they do the whole talking thing to the house. And I heard reading on the different message boards talking about this film that there's a drinking game where every time they say white light, you're supposed to take a drink. But like you would die.
She says it often. White light, protect us.
They all say white light. They all keep saying white light, and they all keep saying, I love you to the ghosts.
Yeah, the cameraman's always, I love you.
Yeah, I love you. I love you. And like this is the thing. There's no screenplay or anything in this movie. And apparently this movie originally came out, it was marketed as really happening because that was the thing back then. But like nothing happens.
Well, they say they have to name the rooms. Did you understand that?
Oh, yeah. So they go around to, well, because, so the letter says after they do this whole thing, like, let's set up home base in this entrance room. They read they're supposed to do it in the living room, but they're like, whoops, but they don't bother moving.
Yeah.
So this haunted house that's like hundreds of years old, this old plantation, it has electricity.
Yeah, the lights are on.
And it's still working. I'm like, come on.
But George, when they had to name the rooms.
Oh, let's hear the names. This list?
Kind of. Ryan.
Right.
Ryan wants to call the room with the toilet in it.
Oh, I thought that was the room.
No, Ryan wants to call the room with the toilet in it the observatory.
Okay.
You want to ask me why?
He likes to watch people poop.
Why?
Because he likes to watch people poop.
No, ask me why. It's wrong.
Why, Tim? Why?
Because you can see Uranus. Don't you? The observatory.
Woo! Alternately, you could see Uranus, depending if you're going 1 or 2.
Tim wants to call the bedroom the incomplete alphabet room.
Tim, why do you want to do that?
Because it's where you get some Z's. Incomplete alphabet room.
Oh. Henny Youngman's ghost looms large.
Paul wants to call the room with the books in it because they do find a room with books.
They do.
He wants to call it the tall room.
Because there's so many
yes,
stories.
You got it. We both did a story joke. Can you believe that? This is spooky.
We're a good podcast, unlike Fill Your Name in Here, rival podcast to be named later.
Their conversation is what I couldn't get through. I was going to fall asleep. They're just like teenagers.
Yeah, because it's all this.
Like, oh, what's up here? Oh, that room's dark.
It's this clearly improvised dialogue. They're supposed to designate one guy a leader, who I guess is the amateur authority guy.
Yeah.
And it's just them talking. It's. I know, like in real life, people have pretty circular conversations. Also in Seddy Bimco, but like nothing ever moves here. They're just exploring the house, which is oddly well furnished for an abandoned.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like, there's a room called the Woodpecker Room.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
It's another bedroom. They're like, oh, I feel a cold spot, and they'll talk about that. And like,
it's warm, but they keep finding.
There's a great bit
cold spots
because cold spots maybe are disruption of energy. That was something that the guy Troy said in the beginning. There's this we're subjected to like I'm not even exaggerating to say it's like about a 2-minute conversation of how the psychic shouldn't have the camera because she's gonna feel stuff. She should have her hands free.
Yeah.
And then immediately after we see the fucking psychic holding the camera. I'm like, what is going on here?
The psychic girl hears whispers. She's like, somebody's next to me. They're right here.
Yeah. She has her hand out awkwardly, like, I can feel them. They're right here. It feels weird. And I don't know, Tim. What did you think of these characters?
Oh,
like
they're just at least.
If you had a button.
A button. Which one? I guess
this is a button you can kill. There's no way. In fact, not only can you not be blamed for this anyway, you will get $1 million for pushing this button. Who do you kill first?
I guess I just leave Tim alive because he was the least annoying. He was just like, I love you, ghost. But
he was pretty annoying, though.
But I never.
I think in the order, I kill the guy who's the leader first.
Yeah, definitely. Didn't like
then
him.
I kill the psychic. It's pretty neck and neck for those two. Then I probably killed the blonde lady, even though she just disappears in the movie.
She disappeared.
And I guess I leave Tim to last, but I would kill Tim too. Then I'd kill the filmmaker. Wait, is this my revenge story early?
Yes, I guess so.
I think it is. Yeah. All right. A door opens up by itself in a dining room, but only Tim sees it.
Did you film that?
And he doesn't record. Yeah, but he's like, no, I was changing my battery. So we don't see anything. And the psychic's like, it only films you when you're not looking. It only does it something. They smell an old guy. That's what they smell. They literally say it smells like an old man, which I'm like, yeah. I'm like, Tim must be loving this.
They smell
there's a part when they're staring at a hole in the kitchen ceiling for a bit, and I thought someone's going to come through, but at least in our cut it didn't.
Yeah, they kept saying.
They're talking over each other like it's a Seddy Bimco episode.
I wrote that. The girls have to use the bathroom. That's that, and I think the guys are like, "Well, we should go in and film, right?" And they're like, "Giggle, giggle, no, giggle, giggle."
Yeah.
It's like 3 minutes of giggling about that.
They blast Mad Duke.
Yes,
they go upstairs. The bathroom's on the second floor, and there's this line: "I noticed the upstairs is darker than the downstairs." It's because you haven't turned the lights on yet, Einsteins. Yes. As they're going to they go through the second floor with the bathroom, whatever. Somebody actually says, "Did you see the Blair Witch?" I'm like, really?
Right.
Your movie is already such an obvious attempt to you're gonna okay.
And they bring up Scooby Doo. Like, really?
Yep, they do.
Which, guys with your giant talking dog and everything.
There's a bit when they finally go up to the third floor or the attic. I was a little bit hazy in which it was.
That's where they found the books.
We kind of mentioned that's where supposedly the murders of the Lallorie did. She kept the people in the attic, so they were like really scared to go up there.
But that's where there's a bunch of books.
And
want to reiterate,
I thought the books the books were downstairs.
Oh, I thought they were upstairs.
Could they go into the attic and the chair gets thrown, but we don't really see that either? Yeah,
kinda.
Yeah. They're all talking about they hear a generator at one point, but that comes of nothing. I think it's literally they heard the film crew's generator stuff, and they're like, shh, cut that part out. They go back downstairs after going to the attic, and they see after the chair being thrown, which you don't really see. And the psychic's like, I think it's after me.
And then they go, white light. I got that.
They say white light another more times. At home, somebody's doing a drinking game. They die from alcohol poisoning at this point. Next we see the psychic, she's lighting either incense or like a mad doob, and she's just like, there's all the smoke coming off her.
That's right. I brought, is that incense or something? I don't know what she was lighting.
Yeah, or sage. I don't know. They don't explain.
They see a dead bird.
The best line in the movie, and what do they say?
No, I just said, and they see a dead bird, and they're like,
they see the dead bird, and somebody goes,
What do they say?
The line after, how badly is it dead? For those of you wondering, it was a skeleton, so pretty badly dead.
Badly dead.
There's a bit right after that where somebody goes, why is that shoe sitting there? Just a shoe. It's just a fucking shoe in a cluttered old house. It's just sitting there. And in case you're wondering if the shoe flies or maybe the shoe... No, it's just a shoe.
Then they're like, what's that Playboy doing just sitting there?
Oh, Tim, who was in that Playboy?
I didn't do ones this week, so... You know that house had a Playboy in it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
but probably. This house was mostly just empty, though. Just empty.
Yeah.
So
empty, but with furniture.
Yeah, but I mean, empty. It was empty and cold. Yeah. I'm trying to lead into my list, another list.
Oh,
I told you this episode is going to be topical because this movie is just so empty. This is what came into my head. So, ways this big.
Speaking of empty,
mostly empty house is not like Trump's soul. How is this big empty house not like Trump's soul? So,
well, for starters, it exists.
We didn't. Yeah, we didn't mention this yet, but they saw three rats. So this house had 3 little cute rats in it, and Trump's soul is infested with rats, dead and alive, just piles of dead rats.
The rats were cute. Trump's rats they'd be orange and smelly.
The house was warm except for some cold areas they would detect here and there, and Trump's soul has no warm areas.
Wait, what about the areas where he pissed himself?
That might be.
That's a little warm.
And on the outside of the house, it was damaged by hail. And the only hail in Trump's soul is a sig hail. Sig hail. Sig hail. Hail, heil.
Sig hail works. You know, Tim, I know, Tim, sit down, put your arm down.
Yeah.
You're getting carried away. You're being a real Elon Musk right now.
No, I'm doing that famous scene from Dr. Strangelove.
Dr. Strangelove. Yep. Mein Führer Echo Valk.
Mr. Dr. Strangelove. I almost said.
Mr.
They burn incense elsewhere.
Well, they're walking around and suddenly there's this scene them just clearly waiting for something to happen that never does. The filmmaker was supposed to do something, he never shows up. Psych is like the ghost is disturbed. So they have the seance.
That's right.
And I'm like,
Ouija board.
this seems like a bad idea because I figured this is what's going to go nuts. It's a literal, folks. It's like it's a Parker Brothers bought Ouija board, which I know that's an easy joke. But like literally, like the douchebag leader guy is sitting there holding the box in the background. Like they must have gotten like they're hoping to get like dividends from this.
I found this.
So they're doing this Ouija board scene, which nothing scary ever happens.
No.
They're asking like, "Do I know you? Yes. Do I love you? Yes." And they get the first letter of his name, which also the psychic says he doesn't know how to write. I'm like, then why are we asking him questions on a Ouija board? And the first letter of his name is C, and for some reason they decide that means his name is Charles. But Tim, I have a list
of what C means.
A list of names that begin with C.
Nice.
Yeah. You ready for this? Yeah. Number
ready.
1, Catman.
Catman.
Yep, that's a name.
Okay.
Number 2, like Catman Scruthers.
Gotcha.
Number 2, Coco the Clown.
Coco the Clown. Okay.
Yep, that's all C's. Number 3, Cunnilingus. Not a typical name, but you could feasibly name someone Cunnilingus. Okay. Number 4, Crap Factory.
Okay.
Again, not a typical name. Number 5, Colon Blow. Again, not a typical name.
No.
But here's one that's pretty typical for you, Tim. Number 6, Carl, as long as it's not spelled with a K.
Okay.
Right? Yep. Here's a name. This is the name of a dinosaur, Compsognathus, but it's a name.
Okay.
Yep. I was thinking about dinosaurs a lot today. Number 8, Creamy Butter. I thought that was like the name of like one of your fictional Playboy models.
That could be.
Yeah, I think she was the June 1973
nice
play model, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Number 9, Cookie Monster.
All right.
And the number 10 names that begin with a C, Carl with a K if you spell it wrong.
Okay.
That's my list. All right.
That was your list?
That was my list.
Wow.
The seance ends when shit falls out of the chimney. It ends the seance. Now, in the version, Tim and I saw, that's just some shit falls out of the chimney.
Sure it wasn't?
What was it?
Santa Claus? Never mind.
I was gonna
the father from Gremlins. The father from Gremlins.
The father from Gremlins. I was gonna do. It was a skeleton. Now, apparently, this is what in the version I read the description of the original version of this movie. The blonde lady looks up and sees more stuff, and I think there are skeletons or something. And then that's shortly thereafter is when she falls through the hole in the floor because she's pretty much not in the movie again after this. See? You hear her voice yelling from other floors, but
I was so bored with it, I didn't really even notice.
Oh man! So this section, we should have mentioned there's chapters. This one's called the cleansing.
The cleansing.
So once again, they asked for white light 1,000,000 times, and they don't really do a good job explaining it. But what I guess is happening is they're splitting up, and each of them is going to a quote unquote haunted room, and they're going to say this prayer at the same time.
They split up,
and the leader guy is the one who has to go into the attic, and for the next fucking 15 minutes in the movie,
he's stuck on the steps.
It's him yelling and complaining about how spooky it is, and he's on the steps and he doesn't want to go up there, and like it's all these weird shots of him holding the camera, looking up his nose. It's like a Gil Kane comic in here.
Yeah, he was, and they're just yelling at him to keep going. Or
he's like, "Is that a rope? That rope wasn't there." Nothing comes to that rope. Just a rope. It's like the shoe. It just is there.
Is that
just a prop?
Is that a fleshlight? Where'd that come from?
Wait. Hey, where'd the fleshlight go? What are you doing in your pants there?
I do have.
Another
list from popular events. I'm sorry. How's this house?
We need lists. Yeah.
How is this house not like RFK Jr.'s head? Okay.
Oh, man. It's not wrapped in shrunken leather.
This house has spiders in it. RFK Jr.'s head has worms.
Just worms. The man who's in charge of making health choices for this country has worms in his skull.
Just one dead one.
All right. You believe that guy?
This house was never damaged by 14 years of heroin intake. Hey, if you got a problem out there, get help. But this is the man in charge of us. So.
Did he seriously have a heroin problem?
I read 14 years of heroin problems on the internet.
Not that being an addict makes you somebody, but come on, guy.
Yep. And his second wife died mysteriously at home, I guess suicide after
She found his book where he wrote about all his affairs, and she gave the book to her sister and said, if anything happens to me, make sure you publish this. And then
Jesus Christ.
she died at home. Suicide. You know?
And now he's married to the lady from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yep. Ruining that show for all time. Good job, lady.
Derailed my own list. The house had rats in it. RFK Jr.'s head has no rats. Oh, sorry. Wait a minute. I'm being handed a piece of paper. The news is reporting that a rat has crawled into RFK Jr.'s head. Into RFK Jr.'s head, so scratch that joke. Man, I ruined that.
I thought that was pretty good.
My paper. I didn't stick to my character.
For those of you listening at home, Tim, like, despite, as he said, not sticking to character, he did pass himself a piece of paper. So we're doing some object work. It's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. You want to make this episode long? When he was when RFK Jr. was in private school, he was regarded as the ringleader of a pack of spoiled rich kids who called themselves the Hyannisport Terrors, engaging in vandalism, theft, and drug use. So anyway, that's just...
So he's a candidate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Found that online. Wikipedia, so maybe it's not true.
No, I looked up, while we were doing this, I looked up his heroin addiction. He had a spiritual awakening after that. It's probably why he chainsawed the head off that whale he found.
Yes.
Or maybe left that dead bear in Central Park. How is this our world?
I don't know, George.
It's like the stupidest characters are in charge right now. Like they're all characters who, if I was reading a novel, would be like, that's a little over the top. Please scale it back.
But people come here to forget the problems. I'm sorry, I brought them up.
Seddy Bimco. People come to Seddy Bimco for their problems. They're like, at least I'm not like those
their
two
problems.
guys.
No, look at these two guys. I've got
and to get new problems. It's fucking cartoonist. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so the leader guy spends the next 15 minutes being afraid to go in the attic. He's yelling, please, Charles, turn on the light. And the psychic is like talking to the camera, and she's like, look, you can hear my heartbeat, and you can't. And Tim is in his room, and we finally see something. Oh, no, he hears something in the closet. He opens the closet.
The clothes
he sees
are moving.
A mirror.
Aren't they in the closet?
Well, eventually but first he just sees a mirror and yells.
Oh, he's screaming, yeah.
The blonde girl, I should mention, is not seen through any of this part because they forgot she existed. The psychic's like, somebody's in the room with me. A door closes by itself. Tim hears the rustling behind the door. This is when he finally sees the rats that the other Tim has been mentioning so much.
Yes.
But he's like, I feel a cold spot in the closet, like Trump's soul. And the clothes are moving. And there's kind of a whisper thing. And he goes inside. There's a secret door and hallway through the closet. He steps inside. Boom, he's in Narnia.
Nice. Here, you said nothing happened.
No, he just gets locked in the closet.
That's right.
Like the secret room. Yeah. And the psychic's still talking about the door being cold, and then the door opens.
Well, the psychic girl, they at least they tried to put a little plot in there. She's like, what? I'm related to you? Wasn't it that? She's like, who was tortured?
In retrospect, it was done poorly at the time. They were setting up, like, when she was doing the seance with the Ouija board. Right. She's like, oh, you know me? I love you. Yeah. And then she's like, later she does say the thing like, I think it's here for me.
Yeah.
So then she's in this room yelling, and like a door opens. We actually see it, and she goes, there's a spirit in me. It's the angry ghost, the one that threw the chair that you didn't see. And then she goes, what? You're talking to me? I'm the reincarnation of Madame Lallorie.
That's right.
And then like we kind of see like maybe like I think we see something in a mirror for a second. Yeah. I guess it's like a little girl maybe.
Yeah. Which
is weird because up until this point we heard about Madame Lallorie killing this guy's son and wife. So maybe it's his wife. I don't know. And it attacks the psychic, and she's screaming.
That we don't see.
We don't really see what's happening. She's just and then the leader guy runs down the stairs because he never went into the closet. And he opens the door and he goes, and the movie, that's it.
Yes. It's like Blair Witch.
And I copied the last bit verbatim. This is what it says. Madison, Tim, Paul, and Ryan were rescued from the house and sent to the hospital for observation. Madison, unable to explain the cuts and abrasions in her upper torso, was in a highly hysterical state. The doctors determined her wounds to be self-inflicted, despite the fact that many were on her back. The end.
The end. Then
what the fuck?
Blooper reel was good.
What was the blooper reel?
Now we have the part of the show where Tim and George talk about how this movie is like Star Wars and Labyrinth.
The only thing I could find is when I started watching this, I said, I've got a bad feeling about this. And then the kid in the movie said the same thing.
And then the actors making this movie said the same thing, just like Luke said.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
It was tough.
I like to say that this is like Labyrinth. And
it's a tough one, isn't it?
It's not. It's not.
No?
There's nothing.
That's tough.
Because Labyrinth has good special effects. This doesn't. Labyrinth has star power. This doesn't.
You could look deeper. Was there an attic in?
No, there's no attic. No.
Was there a ghost?
No. Okay, I actually have it. Labyrinth has as its main character a bipedal, carbon-based human life form.
Okay.
And this movie also has carbon-based bipedal life forms.
All right.
Yep, that's it. All right.
Wherever you are, wherever you're hiding, I'll find you.
Revenge?
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to say my revenge is the one I kind of done. I already did in the story. I'm going to let that one stand. I don't think I'm getting better than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leave me hanging out here alone.
Yep.
All right.
Actually, I do have a revenge story. I'll go after you guys.
Jeez.
It's a secret revenge, though.
So 5 years after the events in this film, our Scooby-Doo team have been sued for the property damage incurred and barred from investigating the supernatural anymore. And Ryan now owns an occult bookstore and works a side job alongside Charlie that I thought I saw in the movie as an unpopular children's entertainer.
No, Charlie. No. Oh, you know who is Charles? Charles is the fucking ghost.
Yes, okay.
Jesus,
Troy
Jim.
Taylor works in a laboratory experimenting with human emotions, and Paul hosts a television talk show about psychics.
I also mentioned Troy Taylor was not one of the main four characters either. This is the worst job of film comprehension I've ever seen from you. Troy Taylor was the dude telling about shit in the beginning.
He was.
Who are you really talking about?
Madison now. Paul's ex-girlfriend.
Can we call them by the descriptions?
She's a psychic.
Blonde,
I called her goth.
Camera guy, leader. Let's call them that.
Goth girl, now Paul's ex-girlfriend, has an infant son named Oscar and works as an art museum restoring artist. And she contacts the rest of the ghost team after her baby's stroller rolls seemingly independently into a busy intersection. Wait, George, did you hear that?
Yeah,
did you hear something in your head?
Is it Dan Aykroyd's lawyers calling? Yeah, okay.
I thought someone touched me. So then the stroller rolled down the hill.
Oh, wait, Tim, I just felt a cold spot.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Oh, now I felt a warm spot. Oh, I just released my bladder.
But the stroller went down the hill and went right between two trolley cars before it gets hooked on the back of a bike delivery guy who's weaving in and out of Mardi Gras traffic. The kids are throwing condoms at him. What? Wait, George, did you feel that?
Was it like a voice like thousands of millions of people cried out in terror and was suddenly silenced? Oh. No.
Oh my God, I don't know what's happening here, George.
Tim,
oh my God, George, I don't know what happened there.
That was pretty fucking weird. I mean, I know we're fucking around here, but like that was really fucking weird.
Well, I had some ghost investigators come. They checked.
Really? What'd they say?
Checked the whole place.
Did you call
something
them?
weird was happening? Yeah.
How did you know who to call?
We're in the yellow pages. They got a theme song.
Okay. Can you sing a little theme song?
Ghost investigators showed up. It was Ghost Dad. Remember?
Ghost
anyway.
Dad. From previous episodes, Seddy Bimco, the Ghost Avengers.
But they got to the bottom of what happened. Why I was
what happened,
feeling cold breezes and everything. I took three cannabis gummies instead of one.
That was pretty good, actually. All right, should I do my real revenge story?
Sure.
Okay, play my music.
Play your music. Your story about Ben Parker, Ghostbuster.
So I tried. I do. No, I tried to do a story about the same Francisville Experiment, but Tim, in order to build a story off of something needed to have happened, and nothing did.
Nothing happened.
So instead, I'm writing a different type of story, a very special story for this penultimate episode of our tour of the 50 Nifty.
Okay.
Because, Tim, as I've already listed it from A Promise in You, we're going to put the name Jack Weiss in the title description. And somewhere down in New Orleans, Jack Weiss himself is going to be doing a vanity Google search, as he does occasionally, and it's totally his right to, because he's an established gentleman who did many great things. He directed part of a James Bond movie.
He did.
He's going to see his name. He's going to, let me give this a listen. And he's going to listen. And he's going to wryly chuckle a few times. He's not going to understand some of what we talk about because there's a lot of in-jokes. But it's going to drive him to go deeper into our back catalog.
Oh, no.
And he's going to listen and listen. He's going to listen to all of them. Our numbers are going to go way up. He's going to become our best friend. He's going to come onto the podcast. He's going to replace Kevin Cablasto as co-host when I need to be away. He's going to replace you as co-host when you need to be away. And one day in the not-too-distant future, this is just going to be called Getting Weiss with Jack. And that's the whole podcast.
I like it.
And his revenge is that he takes over Seddy Bimco.
Yeah.
And you never know. You just never know what's going to last the days, the ravages of time. Who knew 45 years ago when they were filming Mardi Gras Massacre that people would still be sending nude photos of that woman to sign them now? And who knew that 45 years from now, no one will remember Seddy Bimco. No one will remember Tim Hamilton or George O'Connor. They'll only know Kevin Cablasto as that man who died after eating too many Oreos on TV that one time. John Kelly would be famous, but only for his string of horrific crimes related to olive oil. But people everywhere will know Jack Weiss and his Getting Weiss with Jack podcast.
Because he knew how to...
And as you're going to interrupt my story now? You can't see him building something? And as he leans back with that self-satisfied smile, the same one that he used when he filmed those great movies, he'll light a big cigar and say, I don't know, what's something good for me to say? I lost my theme.
He'll say, I was on the Indianapolis delivering the bomb.
No, but he will live forever, and his works will live forever, and he will live forever because he lived in New Orleans. He's a vampire now. That's why he looks so good, even though he's 90. And that's the revenge story. Jack Weiss takes over Seddy Bimco. Oh, and also he kills Bat and Spider just to be spiteful. Yeah,
he probably does it on the cheap. He knows how to do that.
Yeah.
We forgot that from his interview. He said he got called to other films a lot to fix and do things. And they asked him, "Can you remember a movie you liked? That you fixed up?" And he's like, "No."
Nope. Yeah.
I wonder what those were.
All right. So Tim, that was the all special Jack Weiss retrospective Louisiana. Highly disappointing St. Francisville Experiment episode.
Well,
did we get any mail, Tim?
We got a letter. Short letter.
What? Who?
It's from
Short. Your favorite
John Kelly, who used to be host on this show. He wrote again.
John Kelly, who will be known in the future for his horrible crimes related to olive oil.
Hello, Tim and George. It's your friend and Golden Age of Seddy Bimco host John Kelly. In response to your episode featuring Ghosts Can't Do It and our 44th state, Wyoming, you mentioned there are only 2 escalators in the entire state of Wyoming. What you failed to mention was that both escalators are down escalators. They really didn't think that through. Once you go down. Well, thanks for writing in, John.
Is that the whole letter?
It. Didn't even say goodbye.
Great.
Didn't even wish us well.
John, I love that letter. That's the sort of letter we need more of.
Yeah.
That was great. Yes. All right. So
visit
Tim,
us next week. We're going to do our last state.
The final state. 50 states in the bag. Coinciding almost directly with the actual demise of the 50 states of the United States. What is this last film? Please, oh God, let it be something good and special. Not like fucking Cougar Town.
Come on. Cougar Town had more story than this movie tonight. I think you have to admit.
It did, actually. It did, sadly to say.
Well, Vermont's our last state. I did pick a classic. I am aware this was on Mystery Science Theater in their later years. And I think I remember seeing part of it. But I don't remember what they said. It's a very famously bad movie filmed in Vermont called Time Chasers. Don't know if you've seen this.
Oh,
you've seen it?
I love that movie.
Wow.
That's the one. That was filmed in Vermont. I thought it was Canada.
George, I looked it up. You want to check it? Time Chasers?
Yeah, I remember.
Time Chasers.
Yeah, I remember it was I actually think of Time Chasers quite often whenever I see a Cybertruck, because the only hint you're in the future in Time Chasers is occasional visions of a future car, and it looks like a Cybertruck.
I'll check.
I'm excited. No, I think you're right. I think it was in Vermont.
Okay. I always check these things now. So, well, everybody, Time Chasers, Vermont. I think it was shot in the 90s, but I didn't write down the date.
Man, it sure does look 90s.
I forgot to.
Yep. It was filmed in Burlington, Rutland, and the Ripley Opera House, also in Rutland.
Well,
yes.
What's the year? 90s, though.
Oh, I should check that. Let's go back. And it was filmed in, I'm going to say 89, actually.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. No, 94. I was totally wrong. 94.
And this isn't a big deal, but next week, we're just going to reminisce of maybe what our favorite film from our favorite state was.
From our tour of the 50 Nifty. Well, if you're listening now, if you made it through this entire special episode and you have a favorite film for our 50 Nifty, why don't you please write to us at Seddy Bimco with an E at the end, gmail.com. Looking at you, various friends of the show. Come on, write in. Tim Wolick. Come on, write in. Kevin Cablasto. Come on, write in. I know Kevin's. What is it?
The one,
Max Haddock?
No, the one in Hawaii called.
Hard Case in Hawaii. Yeah, probably.
That's a good one.
Yep, but write in anyway. Write in anyway.
Tell us what your favorite and why, because I got a good story. I listened to my favorite one recently. Ooh. The most amazing thing is there's still joy in George's voice and his laugh. It's so long ago. It's early.
It's before Tim broke me with his old age questions.
But that's it. Long episode.
All right.
That's it.
As it had to be.
Go right, your own way.
Thank you for listening to.
Be safe.
I forgot we're doing our new Fleetwood Mac sign-offs. Yeah.
Sorry, what were you gonna say? Something else?
I don't remember.
Okay. Goodbye then.
Bye, everybody.
This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line, it's a party line.
How is this old house like Eric Trump's head?
I figured we could do the triumvirate of evil and we were going to move on to Elon. So let's see Eric Trump.
Both the house.
The lesser scion of the Trump family.
Both the house and Eric Trump's head have spiders.
Mm-hmm. That tracks.
The house has peeling paint and Eric Trump's head has eaten a lot of peeling paint.